Hello, everybody, and welcome to Create Your Best Life with Rex. I am Rex Ice. I'm your host. And in a moment, I'm going to bring up my guest host, Danny Walsh. He's my co-host. And my guest today, I'm excited to have him on, is Mr. Bill Walsh. And he's a venture capitalist and the CEO founder of the Success Education, Business Coaching, and Speaker training firm, Power Team International. Bill hosts and speaks at events all over the world. His passion is to empower entrepreneurs and business owners to create massive success. He's also the best-selling author of the book, The Obvious, and you're going to want to stay tuned and watch this in live or replay for an announcement about that book. And Bill is an amazing speaker, radio personality, and a movie celebrity. He's been ranked for the last 5 years in a row by Guru Magazine as one of the top 30 business coaches in the world, and he's been honored to lecture at Harvard University, and he's been speaking to small and large groups from around the globe for the past 2 decades. He also has been working with startups to major global brands, from startups to major global brands, to help them increase sales, productivity, and overall success. He's an innovator with a remarkable ability to help entrepreneurs create even more success, and he loves to teach you how to build success plans and to help entrepreneurs and business owners on how to seize market opportunities and do so much more. So I'm going to bring Danny up, or Danny's going to come on up, and we're going to bring Bill up in just a second. But I'm thrilled to have Bill here. I recently got to be with Bill in Chicago, and what an amazing event that was. How are you today, Danny?
Doing great. Good to see you, Rex. This one's going to be awesome. It was great just speaking with Bill just now off camera and finding out some of the things that goes on in Bill's world and the events and all of that we're going to get into in a second. But yes, all is good. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I am ready. Now, I've got some news that it won't post to my Facebook for some reason. They're not allowing this to stream, but it is streaming elsewhere, YouTube and that. So for whatever reason, there's some technical difficulties, and hopefully we'll still have being able to see comments and those people who chat wherever they're chatting. So yeah, let's bring Bill up.
I'll try and figure that out as we go live, as you start talking to Bill. But I think we're good to go. If you are, Rex, we'll bring Bill to this stage.
I'm good to go.
Let's go. Bill, how are we doing?
Hey guys, how are you? Nice to be back live on the stream with you. How you guys doing today?
Well, we're better now that you're here. This is great.
Hey, listen, thanks for having me. What an honor.
Oh, and what an honor for you to join us. Thank you. And so where are you right now, Bill? You're in
today I'm in that warm, sunny climate in Las Vegas where it's about 114 degrees. So not much sun for me today, but it's hot, but it's cooking here. We're getting ready to have some fun for the weekend.
Well, I had just mentioned to our audience, and whether I don't know if you heard it or not, but that I got to spend some time with you in Chicago, and what a wonderful event you have put on. And you put on events all around the world. I know you said you're going to Dubai, you're going to Vienna, you're traveling all around. But we got to spend a little bit of time together in Chicago, and I was so impressed and so delighted with not only the caliber of the event you put on and yourself and the speakers and people that you have, but the attendees. It was a marvelous time, a wonderful event.
Well, we were also very honored to have you on the stage, to get you to share some of your wisdom. We've had that recording for you now. So, yeah, it was a blessing to meet in person. We've chatted online, it seems like, for a couple of years now. Yep. Great to actually meet you in person, have you come out. And I did post that day about, Rex is sharing some of his wisdom with our group. So it was an epic day. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, well, again, thank you for the
great to see you. Great to meet you over the stream here from a minute before. I'm excited to figure out some ways we can work together and have fun together.
And I suspect that fun will be a prerequisite, and working together is in the future. Absolutely. Thank you.
I'm with you on that one for sure.
And Danny, go ahead.
A pleasure. It's been awesome so far, and we've spoke for 15 minutes off camera. I know this is going to be epic, and we've got so many people who tune into this live or on the replay. They see this on YouTube. People send us questions and all the time. We try our best to help people, but we also want to really understand your story, because some people out there, maybe a few people, Bill, might not know too much about you. I know Rex read out the intro, but we really want to try and give you this opportunity to do your thing, to help people, empower some people, maybe get some people out the starting blocks who might be at the start of their career. There's lots of benefits doing this, and I think Rex usually has some really powerful questions. Hopefully, you're going to share some really powerful insight, and people get some really good takeaways from this. So I'm excited.
Well, what I would say, and I like what Danny just said, but let's encourage people, if they can post, if they are in the chat, to say where they're from, where they're watching from, and also if they have a question for Bill, and Bill would be happy to answer that. But you know what? I think what Danny just said, Bill, is a great thing. You know, you're recognized for who you are today and for all you've accomplished in the past 20 years. But how did you get started? What was it that drove you to become who you are today and to create so much success for so many people all around the world?
You know, I call it the glacier effect, you know, and the glacier effect is that you really only see the 10%, which is all the shiny objects, the flying on private jets or cruises or parties or hosting presidents or hosting presidential nominees and hosting super celebrities for events. But the other 90%, what people rarely ever see, is the work that goes into it. You know, and for me, I had my first business at 9 years old. I had my first paper out, you know, where my dad drove me around and we delivered Sunday papers, which were the heaviest papers of the week. But when I made a commitment to it and I did it for a couple weeks, I said, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like this. And my dad said, no, if you commit to something, you do it, you finish it. And I kept that route for, I think, 5 years. It turned into a lawnmower business by the time I was 11, where I went back to those same newspaper customers I had, and my older brother's friends needed to make some extra money. My dad told me I had to cut the grass in our house, and I said, you better have to get the grass cut. And I knew at 11 I was an entrepreneur when I figured out that it was me that was going to cut the grass, but I could have someone else cut the grass and get paid for it. And before you knew it, I from there as a young entrepreneur, I raced BMX bikes. And I got to travel city to city to city, and I raced for a group called Factory Schwinn. And believe it or not, our bikes had to be perfect. Our gear had to be perfect, and many of the local bike shops would buy from the teams that were winning, and we were always winning. So I learned early that if you put the work in when people weren't watching, then you probably had the best chance to win when they were watching. And I think that's what changed the game for me. And then out of high school and college, a trader. I traded currency in New York and Chicago. I did turnarounds for a decade. I would come consult for companies and either fix your company, close your company and sell the assets, or take some of it public. And by the time 2000 rolled around, I had 3 kids, 9, 7, and 2, Austin, Marissa, and Evan. And I decided to take a couple weeks off, and I was making a lot of money, but money wasn't the answer. The funny thing is that when you don't have money, you want lots of things. When you have lots of money, most of those things that you thought were important are not important at all. And for me, it was time with my kids. I wrote down family, faith, and fun. And I built a roadmap around family, faith, and fun. It could be faith, family, fun for you. It could be whatever, faith, freedom, fun. But for me, I did not want to miss a basketball game or a basketball camp or a volleyball camp. So I coached my kids in every sport they wanted to do until they got to around 7th grade. And then I just wasn't that cool anymore. You know what I mean? So I didn't fit the mold, and I knew there was better coaches than me. So I always was like, well, you're ready to move on from what I can train you. And the 2 weeks became 2 years, because sometimes I believe you've got to check out to check back in. And then we teamed up. We launched a product for entrepreneurs called Successfolio. It was a business in a box. We teamed up as a marketing partner for GoDaddy, a channel partner for a company called Franklin Covey. We gave you a merchant account and a business plan and said, here you go. And within 20 months, that product was being sold in 20 countries. So when people think you're crazy or you're nuts, you're probably on the right track. We launched a business course called Rainmaker back in 2005. It's going to be our 20-year anniversary next year. It'll be the last year that I actually trained the program. But we created an incubator that 4 times a year, we meet 3 days at a time to help them with their vision, their mission, their path, help them with sales funnels, social funnels, loyalty programs, partnerships, but really make them own their KPIs, make them write their grants, make them write their business plan. And it's become a phenomenal worldwide course. We've offered it now in more than 30 countries, and they pay like $5,000 a year for them and 4 of their friends to attend. Then the venture fund in 07, masterminds in 08. We launched a UWC, which is a big internet marketing, well, now digital marketing AI conference. We began to train speakers to sell from stage. I was approached by a group called the Small Business Expo in 2012 to invest $1 million to become their main sponsor. And they were only in 2 cities. And people thought I was crazy again. But within 5 years, we had 100,000 attendees a year coming out. We brought on Google, AT&T, T-Mobile. Shark Tank even had their tryouts at our events. We ran the main stage and 70 speakers every 2 weeks on those stages. And, I learned so much from that. And it was also grueling because we had semi-trailers going city to city and renting all these convention halls. But I love the plight of serving entrepreneurs. And I think when it's all said and done, it's really not about that you made so much money, but was there a ripple effect in your work? And not just that you had success or even your clients had success, but did their clients have success? It's funny, a student of mine just called me the other day, and he went through our business course 12 years ago, platinum speaker 10 years ago, and now they're doing millions of dollars a year speaking all over the world on AI. And he said, I want to come back home because I feel like you guys made this possible for me. And he's going to speak at one of our upcoming conferences. And, when you can have that kind of, and I guess that's the word is Rex, that you guys both have, is that you're creating impact for other people's lives. So now we have a new TV network called GBN out of Dallas. We're doing it like 100 shows before we launch it in the next couple of months. We're launching a new entrepreneur series called 20 for 20, where I'm looking for entrepreneurs around the world to talk about their journey, from going from startup to being in hell to being in paradise. And I'm blessed today that my kids, my oldest son, Austin, is 32. He runs a SaaS company we invested called Mobex Pro. My daughter's a PA in dermatology at Northwestern Hospital Group in Chicago. And my youngest son, Evan, he's a DJ in Vegas. So with all the work that I've done, none of that comes even close to the fact that I have 3 kids that are good humans. And when people talk about, all of the money and the boats and the planes, I'm telling you, it means absolutely nothing compared to watching your kids become good, healthy, fine humans that are contributing and that you're so proud to be around. So now we're going to a music fest this weekend. Yeah, we're going to see Travis Scott in Vienna, because we are huge music festival fans. And so it's the quality of the times with quality people. And that's why I loved having you at our event, to speak at our event and share some of your wisdom. What a blessing. And we built a pretty strong, what I would call broadcasting network, whether it's live events, digital events, TV, radio, where we can showcase some amazing stories. And we're looking for tomorrow's top entrepreneur and tomorrow's top speaker. So it's we never stop innovating. And I think that's the big secret that people don't realize, is that when they're sleeping, we're planning. When they're partying, we're working. And when we're having success, and I tell people, when you have a lot of success, you don't got to say anything. Just keep your head down and go to work, and the results will speak louder. So I love what you're doing, and thanks for having me on your broadcast. But that's a 5-minute overview of 25 years of my life.
Well, and there's so much depth to that, and so many, just awesome points that you made. I want to unpack a little bit, and I'd like to do it by contrast.
Yeah, so, and I want to share one thing too, that I want to tell everyone too, that I've been broke and wealthy too, and I promise you, broke sucks. But I've been there, and you'll always find your real friends when you're broke. Your real friends always walk in; all the fakes are gone. So always make sure that entrepreneurs know that anyone that ever tells you it's always been roses, they're probably lying. I can tell you, and I still have failures every week. I try things like, shit, that didn't work, right? And you got to go back to the drawing board. So, but go ahead, Rex. Sorry.
No. I'm so glad that you said that. What happens is a lot of people, and I know that we've all had this experience, at least here on the platform. People who have chased shiny objects, and they've done everything for cash or for the boat or the yacht or the car or the whatever. and then they get them and they're not fulfilled because they've missed all the important moments in their life with family and friends, or just their own personal freedom. I want to go back to when you were a child. The difference between you and me was you're looking at doing the paper route, and when I was about 18 in Los Angeles, there was a young guy in my neighborhood who became a multimillionaire doing yard work too by having kids mow the lawn for him. And they did in the LA Tribune Times, whatever the newspaper was at the time, they wrote all about him. And one of my relatives said, well, that could be you. You live in the same neighborhood. And I go, but I don't want to mow lawns. You don't get it. I want to be an actor. I don't want to mow lawns. And what I love so much about what you said is called, the term depth or field of vision. The people who are successful like you are see further than most other people see, because they look at the obvious and they either either turns them on or turns them off. And I'm sure, you see the people who come into your workshops or programs and they do the mental math. They've never done anything, but they go, okay, let's say there's 10 people here. They've each paid $1,000. You go, well, that's $10,000. This is a cash cow. And they don't realize the hard work or the overhead or the time spent to have just 10 people there, or 100 people or more. So the ability to see further, to see beyond, and to look at something like you have. I mean, as you described it, you go, well, we started with this, and then it became this, and then it's become that. And that's like, looking out, at your garden, and then imagining someday that there would be a new city, out there, as opposed to just a garden. You could.
Yeah.
And lastly, I will close it with this, because I'm making comments rather than asking questions. But I so loved what you said, and that is the idea of family and children. And I know that your participants, the people who come to you, are as important in many ways as family. And you want to see your children do better than you. You want the people who help, the attendees and the participants in the businesses that you get involved with, succeed far and wide beyond what you could even begin to imagine. I know I want my kids to surpass anything that I could ever done. And before my dad died, I said, Dad, if I've accomplished anything in the world, I've accomplished being a father, and that's the best thing that's ever happened in the world. The rest you can trash. I don't care. I'll put it in a garbage heap. I don't care. But having children was the most wonderful thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, it's funny that the blessings in life that people think sometimes are blessings may not be blessings. They may be in disguise for what's really important. And for me, I'd gotten to a point in my life that money was no longer an issue, but I realized that time with my kids was everything. And until this date, when I began to focus on changing my language from here's what I got and here's what I want to here's who I am and here's how I can serve, when I changed that internal dialogue, everything changed. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go really far, go with a great team. And that's when I realized that I had the gift to see things in people they couldn't see in themselves. And I realized that I could see them as where they're supposed to be, not where they've been. And once I could do that, I could execute quickly. I could connect the dots of here's the money, here's the teams, here's the systems, here's the events you have to be at, here's the connections you have. Now, whether they do that or not is entirely up to them, but I could see things in them they couldn't see in themselves. And that has been a great blessing to help a lot of people go far outside their comfort zone and create big wins in life and business. And I think that's part of the message today, is that we launched a new group called 7 Figure Club, that it's just, can we put some deals together? We do a board of advisor event once at the Atlantis and once at the Aria, except there's no speakers. You're the speaker. You got to come and talk about your business. And imagine going to an event with no featured speaker. You are the featured speaker. And what we is that many times the missing link for a lot of people is being in the right room. It's having that access to the right people and making sure that their offer is in alignment with who they are and where they're going. And it's really been a fun adventure that, we throw these mansion style parties or these, these Centurion Club parties. But once again, there's no pitches. It's just We talk for about 20 minutes and figure out, is there some ways we can win together in life and business and making a difference philanthropically? And if we're in alignment on that, then let's all hang out and create some bigger wins. And it's become a phenomenal success, because I think people do love to be a part of groups where everybody wins, not just one person wins. And collective collaboration, I learned from a guy 20 years ago, those two words, when they're actually put together properly, can help you create the biggest wins in your life. So I'm excited to spend some more time with you, Rex, and get to know you, Danny, and figure out how can we all have some more fun, make a bigger difference in the world, and get paid extremely well for our efforts.
I'm good with all of that, Bill. Absolutely. You, Danny?
Yeah, I think listening to all of that, and there's a few big things for me that have kind of come out of this, and I hear this all the time, Bill. The one thing that stands above everything, I think, is the notion of time and the entrepreneur's desire to compress time. Right? It's like, hey, we must do it faster. We must get there sooner. And it doesn't always work out how people envisage, right? Time has to be allowed. And sometimes people are like, oh man, I need everything now, this minute, and I need to be rich, and I need $1 million or whatever. And it's that. What's the view on that? Does it work? Is this a magic power that we can compress time?
I do believe that, when you sleep, your brain works. So we teach a process called 10 before 10. And that every night before you go to bed, you write down the 10 most important things to accomplish by 10 a.m. tomorrow to make it an absolutely fabulous day. And the challenge for most people is they write down all the things they think they have to do. And what it really is the things you're going to delegate. See, most people never realize the minimum wage for a millionaire is $524 an hour. And yet if they looked at their daily habits, they're doing things that are $10 an hour. And they wonder why it's not working for them. And I would tell you that to condense time frames, you have to get yourself out of the way. You have to learn that for example, I live on a 10-acre estate in Chicago. I've never once cut the grass. And it still would not look as good as the team that comes in and does it in 4 hours. I remember when I was married, my former wife would say, you got to clean the gutters and you got to take care of them. I'm like, you absolutely have the wrong person. There's no way that I'm going to do that. I'm not going to fall off a ladder. It's not my skill set, but I'll gladly hire someone. There's an app called TaskRabbit. They can do almost anything for you that you're not good at. So stop doing things you suck at and focus on what are you really great at. And then learn to delegate as much as you can. But you've got to keep score to figure out, do your daily habits line up with your big goals? And if they don't line up, then you're going to wind up in 3 places for an entrepreneur. The first is called Busyville. The second is called Brokeville. And the third is called Burnoutville. My friend Greg Reed and Sharon Lecter wrote a book called 3 Feet from Gold. And I find that a lot of entrepreneurs, they burn out because they're busy doing things that never move the hockey stick effect in business, because they're never trained on understanding something called $1 million or $1 billion habits. I promise you, broke people have a specific set of broke habits. Successful people have a program around successful habits. That's why I studied John Wooden. 10 of 11 years they won the NCAA basketball championship. I studied Vince Lombardi because he had a simple process. This is a football. And he trained people on how to be so good at the basics. And so I learned a long time ago a process called Master the Mundane. And I teach that today, that, whatever your gift or your skill sets are, really own them and be so good at what you do that you can literally broadcast it to the other competitors in the game and they still can't stop you. So condensing time frames works, but it has to be around things that are most important to you. So our students, we give them something called a success planner, a power planner, but it's not what you think. It's only to fill in all the dates for the next year that are wrapped around family, faith, and fun. And the minute you wrap everything around family, faith, and fun, the business becomes a lot easier. Instead of, I got to fit this in. No, you don't fit in family, faith, and fun. You schedule it a year in advance. and then watch how much. Well, we've got to meet today. This is an important meeting. I said, no, this is an important meeting for you. I've made a schedule with my kids. I'm going to be there. So if you begin to live by those terms, people have way more respect for your time.
Wow, that's beautiful. Really
Gives you a
beautiful.
little bit of insight, right?
Well, so there are. Oh, by the way, we're about the halfway point right now. We're about halfway into. So if you're watching live or in the replay, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to leave comments. Be sure to tell us what your takeaways are. If you've got questions, you can ask them. We'll try and make sure that they're answered. But and share this out. Share this out to everyone. But Bill, that is so powerful. And one of the things that sometimes we're really lucky. We've got clients and customers who they don't have any money worries. They like what they're doing and they can spend the money to do whatever. So delegating is easy. But there's also those people that come that don't have the money to delegate. They're broke. They don't have anything, and their mindset is usually broke too. And for those people who can't afford to dive in the way they might benefit most from, what advice would you give? Because a lot of people don't listen.
So what I would do is I would teach them all to use a platform called Barter, Barter, Barter. There's an exchange called ITEX, ITEX. The lady's name is Karen Kelly out of Chicago that runs it. And learn to trade for things. Learn to take your intellectual property, whatever you're great at, whatever your gift is. I mean, we have one of our students. She launched a site on Facebook, has 30,000 followers in less than 2 years. It's called Need a Speaker. So she just made it easy for folks that need a speaker to go in there and find who they want. Another one launched a YouTube video on how to fix things around your house. He already has 20,000 subscribers. We have a customer that he's a plumber, but he has 600,000 subscribers now in 3 years and over 100 million views. He makes nearly $1 million a year doing how-to videos about plumbing because he's been sponsored by all these people. So everyone has a unique, innate talent. And if you don't have the money right now, then you got to ask yourself, are you positioned properly? Are you actually going to the market the right way? But there's no doubt that there are TikTok shops right now. There's a girl on TikTok making $40,000 to $60,000 a day. She says all she does is swipe products. She doesn't even talk at all, just swipes the products. But the thing is that you've got to create something that you stand out in, that you love to do. But the how-to world is not going to slow down. So as you go slow into your business, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody don't, and this is a great thing, Danny, that don't think that you've got to compress success. If it takes you 2 years or 5 years to get there, that's the journey. And that's the reality. Anything that's get rich quick overnight usually means get broke faster. So I would take the step back, and there's nothing wrong with going slow, but I would realize there's grant money out there. Believe it or not, $500 billion a year of grants never get used. The money's sitting right there. County grants, city grants, IKEA has grants, Jack Daniels has grants, Federal Express has grants. So don't be afraid to go slow and go at your own pace. Who cares about someone else's success? Who cares if they had overnight wealth? It doesn't matter. You're never going to cash their checks. You're never going to live in their house. You're not going to fly on their jet. So go at your own pace. And you know what? Don't apologize for going at your own pace. Nobody has ever walked in your shoes. They don't know the price you pay. So if it takes you a bit longer, someone said something really good. They said, when you create success slowly, you build character. When you create success overnight, you build ego. And I really do think that I love it. Speaker Eric Swanson, good to see you. And yeah, you had me at Jack Daniels. I love it. There's a guy that runs incredible events all over the country, and someone that I'm sure if he broadcast, he needs to be on the broadcast. I love you, brother. Eric Swanson's in the house. So
and he was last time.
Okay, good. There you go.
Two great speakers. Well, again, but this goes back to the notion of depth of vision, because what you just said, if people would put into practice the idea of the, how-to industry is never going to go away. The idea that someone could, put out videos or do things, but oftentimes they just aren't thinking they're looking at the possibilities as you just described. You listed 5 or 6 or 7, maybe more than that, things that people could start doing right now. And
Right,
that's because you see further.
Well, I think so often that sometimes you need one person to see something you don't see in yourself. Shaquille O'Neal, for example, was laughed at. You're never going to make it in basketball. No reason to play. Your footwork is the worst. But one person, only one, said, I can help you with your footwork. And if we fix your footwork, you're going to have a great career in the NBA. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He was once again said, you're not going to make it in basketball. Go find something else to do. He won 6 titles for the Chicago Bulls. So when people put you down or they are negative to your journey and your dreams, just write this down there for you. Cardi B was laughed at. She was hated. All these haters. You're never going to make it. It's never going to work. Don't you know you came from trash, blah, blah. She said, here's to all my haters. I love you guys. I'll still be number one. So when they're hating on you, just write down they're cheering for you. And you know what? Appreciate the journey. When you truly, we're doing a new series called 20 for 20 about entrepreneurs that have been through hell to get to heaven or hell to paradise. And I think people need to hear more of that. They need to hear more of that. It's not always easy. Elon Musk had his 420 moment, right? He went from having nothing to not being able to pay his rent to being one of the wealthiest guys in the world. I think his bonus last year was $56 billion. So Rockefeller went from nothing. Literally, his dad was selling lotions and potions from a traveling cart. Within 5 years, he became the wealthiest person in the world. So don't let other people's perception or impression of you become your reality. Les Brown told me that 20 years ago. I still think it's great today. So those are a few little sound bites, but there's no doubt that put your head down and, put your blinders on and go after your goals. And if you fail, you're probably one step closer to success.
Excellent. Danny?
There's a lot of people out there who are really going to benefit from this right now. And big shout out to Speaker Eric Swanson. And it was an awesome show last week. And so many great insights that we pick up every single time we do this. Amazing. And Bill, thank you so much. Just thinking about people going out there into the entrepreneurial journey. And there's a desire to ask for what they want or to try and serve people to get what they want. And people become reluctant to actually pick up the phone or ask the question and knock on the door.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to ever progress? Like you said earlier, you go with the team, right? But are you going to progress if you just do stuff on social media? It's like you need to be out there getting into conversations, right? What's your thoughts about that?
I think it's both. I think that you build business one to many, but you build relationships one to one. Why do I invite people to my house every summer that are great customers? Because I want to meet them in person. I still believe that people need people. I have a student that she runs Unity Services down in Miami. She runs events. She was a former correctional officer that retired. And she runs events with the intention that people need people, but social media is great. And I think, once again, social media is a great way to do business one to many, but I do also believe in that relationship time where that quality time. And one thing I've learned over 30 years in doing business, that more is less, which means more time with less people, and more time with less people will sometimes give you greater results, but invest in those relationships. If you don't invest in the relationships, 5 years from today, you'll be upset, because Charlie Tremendous Jones, and I normally don't like to quote all these people, but this is so powerful. He told me this 20 years ago. He said, it's the books you read and the people you meet that will dictate the quality of the rest of your life. And today it's the information you download and the people you meet. But I do believe that you meet people in person and you meet them for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. I don't believe there's any accidents. None.
No,
Thanks, Eric Swanson. Yeah, I'm blessed to have some good kids. And I had a great former wife, which makes all the difference in the world too.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I agree, and you said some really important, again, all of it's very, very important, but the idea of, how you spend your time, who you spend your time with, and being in the right room, and you mentioned, the plumber guy, and I got to spend time with him in the room, and stuff like that. And he's on YouTube. I mean, the quality of people that
he's
surround.
he's crushing it. He's crushing it on YouTube. 100 million subscribers is crazy. 100 million views is crazy.
And he and I had met on social media first, but I came to your event and here he is in person, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. And I had
on our TV show at the end of the month. You guys should come down to Dallas and be on my TV show. We're doing some recording on August 2nd, I believe it is. And I'm sure this show is probably going to go out more, but if this is August 2nd of 2024, so if you're watching this after that, you might have missed this one. But we're going to do some recording at our GBN studios in Dallas. So if you guys are around, I'd love to have you guys on.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we'll figure out how to make that happen and then make
that happen. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome.
Down for that for sure. Again, being in the right room, and sometimes opportunities can often appear, and people look at those opportunities and go in the wrong direction completely. An example: I was with a good friend of mine. He owns a big business, and the telephone rang, and he answers the phone, and the guy on the other end said, "Hey, buddy, have you got a job?" And my friend's like, "No, but I can help you to start your own business." And the guy said, "No, I don't want any of that. You're wasting my time." And he put the phone down. There was a huge opportunity at that moment, and that guy just kind of like repelled it and moved away. Does that give us a point of discussion?
So I believe you can never say the right thing to the wrong person. And you can never say the wrong thing to the right person. I remember years ago that we were in the Bellagio and, we had 10,000 square foot suite. And my buddy was a billionaire. And this guy walked up, he looked like Shrek. And Shrek just couldn't shut up. He went on for like 15 minutes about how great he was and this and that. And it was all about him. So, and this will help the guys that want to get more dates. It's called the 90-10 rule. 90% about them, 10% about you. Quit talking about yourself. Well, by the time the guy was done after his 20 minutes, I couldn't believe that my buddy listened to the whole conversation, but I knew he was livid because this guy just doesn't get it. But he literally stood up and he said, "My friend," he said, "your entire life's work is nothing more than a rounding error in my checkbook." And he walked away.
Wow. And
it was almost like, and Shrek didn't know what to say. Shrek was shocked because he thought that his presentation was good. But in conversations with the most successful entrepreneurs I've ever met, if you'll just let them talk, you'll open up more doors than you'll ever open up about talking about yourself. And just figure out ways you can serve those that play at a super high level. And the minute you do that, they'll tell everyone, how you help them. And the thing is instead of asking for things, just create value first, expect nothing in return. And that model has made me millions of dollars. So
I want to make two comments. One will be a question, but the first comment is successful people, very, very wealthy people have among themselves have conversations that are very, very different from the conversations of broke people and the people who want to be and the people who are desperate to be noticed or envied. And it would benefit all of us if we would listen more and speak less, especially when in the presence of those people. If they're willing to speak the way they would speak among themselves to those of us, who are privy to, you understand what I'm getting at,
yep.
Bill? It's a different level of conversation because there's a different mindset. I oftentimes say that, a lot of wealthy people, when it comes down to it, they say, I want to start this business, and somebody will say, where's the money coming from? And Deepak Chopra, I think, or Maharishi Mahesh was famous for saying it'll be there, it'll come from wherever it comes from at the time. That people who are used to building and maintaining and sustaining wealth have a different relationship to how they're going to make things happen than the people who don't. And it's because they're successful at making it happen that their worries aren't the same worries as the people who think I could never do that.
Yeah. So what I tell, go ahead.
Yes, please go ahead.
What I was saying is, when I tell people in that space where money is an issue to start, that if you have to get 3 jobs that pay your basic bills, that give you peace of mind, your rent, your overhead, your lights and gas, your food, your health insurance, then that's what it takes. Because what I do know is that if you will work part-time on your dreams, they'll work full-time on you. But it will take time. And so there's nothing wrong with having 2 part-time jobs and driving Uber and doing whatever it takes to make sure that you can pay the bills. And then, of course, when things start to run, then you have choices. That makes sense? I don't think that people realize that if you have a day job and you hate it, don't quit that job until your business is running on its own, where you're 2x or 3xing your current revenue. That then gives you choices. When the boss says you're late for work, you're like, man, you're lucky I'm here. So you have to put the grind in before you ever get to the flow. And most entrepreneurs, as I started this whole conversation, most people will never recognize the glacier effect, because they don't realize that as entrepreneurs, sometimes, if you ever think about the entrepreneur crazy test, is that entrepreneurs are the only ones that will work 100 hours a week, so we don't have to work 40.
That is so true.
But that's the reality of it. And I wish that entrepreneurs were told that more. When you come to these events, a lot of times it's like, just push a button and you can make this money. Well, I don't believe that either. I believe that Gary Player said people who work the hardest tend to get the luckiest. But you got to be working in the right direction. Set of the sail is as important as the speed of the boat, right? So begin to think about, who are you selling with? Do people you're around, do they actually have your back? Watch online to see who celebrates your victories. If your so-called friends don't celebrate your small victories, they're not your friends. They might be an acquaintance, right? But when they do celebrate your victories, do they celebrate them in public or private? Do they just send you a message, hey, great job? No, put it in public, because if they don't praise you in public, I promise you they're not going to praise you in private. And I don't mind, Rex, I've had a lot of haters, and, they hate, what they really hate? They hate because they know they could do it too. I don't have any special gifts or any special skills. I work on myself every day. I read and learn every day. I go to seminars and attend like everyone else. But the difference is that most people, I'll outwork them. And I'll figure out ways to take the risks. When I used to rent the convention halls, I'd rent the Javits Center or the LA Convention Center or the Dallas Convention Center. I did not want to put hundreds of thousands of dollars on my credit card. And I wasn't sure if people were coming or not. Does that make sense? I wasn't sure about that, but I knew if I didn't take that risk, I'd be staying exactly where I was at. Mo Rock, love you, brother. That's a great friend too that I've got mad respect for, that runs the LA Tribune and runs events. And he's always about empowering other people. He's always about finding ways to help other people win. And when you do that, when you help other people win, there's that leveling up effect that is a game changer, that, when the tide rises, it lifts all boats. And Mo Rock's one of those guys that helps people certainly lift the tide consistently. So love you. Thanks for the ping in there, buddy.
Absolutely. Well, and that brings me to the question that I had wanted to ask, and that is, in terms of giving and giving forward and giving back, and you're an absolute giver. And what do you say to them about giving?
Well, I think we talked about this for a minute earlier, that the people that give the most usually win the most. So you can start with your philanthropic ideas, right? I think I might be freezing here, guys. Hang on a second.
You're frozen, but we hear you.
Let's see if we can get this camera to work on. I think sometimes when when people get in that mode, they're afraid to give first, or they think they don't have enough to give. And I would tell you that don't be afraid of it. Embrace the fact that you pay it forward first. Find the ability to go to charitable events once a month. And let's see if I can log in here. Mm-hmm. When you can show up for charitable events first and pay it forward first, the universe will recognize that. And I know a lot of times people don't realize how important that is. So every month, get yourself out to a charitable event and then bring a tribe. And if you'll do that, you're going to start to see that so many new things can open up for you as long as you're willing to show up and pay it forward. This is a mistake that entrepreneurs make, that they don't realize. Don't go for the red carpet. Show up early, set up chairs, do whatever it takes, stay till the very end to meet these amazing people. And you're going to find that some of the most successful entrepreneurs are all at philanthropic events on a regular basis.
You know, one of the things that working in the film business, both in front and behind the camera, I often tell people this, and that is, and Bill will be coming back, so I don't know if he hears me now, but I tell people this. You have a scene, for example, it's a castle scene from long ago, and they have thousands of candles that are lit, and the cinematographer's there, and they're filming the actors who are furthering the story. But who's the most important person for that scene? Is the person who lit all those candles. Because the director doesn't do it, and the cinematographer doesn't do it, and the actors don't do it, but somebody has to do it. And that's part of the team that is responsible for bringing the director's vision to the table. So you need to value all of the people on your team, from the smallest to the largest to everybody. So I really appreciate what you're saying, and about the power of giving, because so many people. I'll share a brief story about myself. I used to go on auditions and I wouldn't get the part, and then I'd see the people in the movie and I go, I could have done better. I could have, and I was mad at the person for getting the part that I had auditioned for, until I saw one guy who blew me out of the water. I just went, I could never have done that. The guy was incredible. And it taught me at that moment that everybody gets what they're supposed to get. They do what they do, and to celebrate this person's wins, don't be mad that the person got it. So share more, please, because this is such an important element to success in moving forward. The idea of giving and adding value and contributing and collaborating and cooperating before the reward comes back.
Yeah, be the first one that shows up to sponsor things. And even if you can't sponsor for much, always realize that you showing up to set up chairs or invite. Anytime I would speak at multi-speaker events, I would run ads for the promoter to help them get new customers in the room. I always wanted to be the number one affiliate. People say, how does Bill get all the best speaker times? And how does he always get to speak before dinner, before lunch? Because I was always the top affiliate. You see, most people just want to go there and speak, and it's all about them. And, I'm the greatest speaker ever. Well, great. But did you actually help the promoter fill the room? Either you write a check to help fill the room, or you run your own ads to fill the room. And because you would do that, promoters would notice, they're like, wait a second, 15% of the room that's here are Bill's guests. I didn't know those people, but I knew if I paid it forward to bring new people to someone else's event, the promoters would pay attention to that. I spoke for 2 years straight on stages all over the world to audiences of 2,000 to 25,000, because not only did we convert and deliver great products and services, but I also made sure I was doing my part to help them win. And see, when you pay it forward first, I was in a movie called Pay It Forward, and it was with Greg Reed and all these other Pass It On, and it was all built on the principles of Pay It Forward 20 years ago. But I met people like Sharon Lecter, who became great friends 20 years later. People like John Asroff, him and I have the same birthday. Him and my kids our kids have grown up together. We've been best friends for 20 years because I showed up and was willing to sponsor things. So when I would do masterminds, I'd be the first one to say, can I buy everyone lunch? Well, that'll be $10,000. Great. I'll pitch in the $10,000. Sometimes maybe I didn't even have the $10,000. I didn't care. I'd figure it out because I knew if you're in the right room with the right people, magic will happen, and people love to feel appreciated. The mistake most people make is that they think they're too cool, they're too big, they're too this. Listen, if you make over $1 billion a year, okay, you can have some ego. If you're under $1 billion a year, check your ego. And most are under $1 billion a year. So at the end of the day, everyone puts their pants on the same way. Everyone has to wake up, make the phone calls, do the work. So, show up for other people's success story and I congratulate my competitors. If someone does a great job, I loved it. James Dentley is one of my best friends for 30 years. he sells similar stuff to we sell. Many of my students that have come through our courses then sell speaker programs and business amplifier programs. Great. The market is so big, I don't care. There's enough for everyone to win. And the thing is that when you can really come from that place and you really don't care, man, you put yourself on a whole different level of game. And that's really the essence of winning, is watching other people win and you celebrate with them, you celebrate for them. And before you know it, people will start to gravitate to what you got going on. Yeah, I love the whole idea. No drama for sure.
Well, I also want to say that one, I too love Mo Rock and Eric Swanson. They're both here supporting us and giving you love, and I really appreciate and validate that. But you asked us if you could share something because you wanted to give something away to the viewers. So I want to make sure that we. I
think we lost my video again. Damn it! I keep losing the video. I don't know what the deal is here. Hang on, let me try to come back to you guys one more time before it. I don't know why. I think because my battery's low. But let me just.
Oh.
So when he comes back, we'll put up what Bill would like us to share.
How good, how amazing, how much we give on this show, Rex, and being able to bring these insights that some folks would never normally hear. And if you're watching live, you're on the replay, give it a share. Make a connection, see what's going on in Speaker Eric Swanson's world, see what's going on in Mo Rock's world, in the Tribune. Go and get into Rex's social media. Go and find some of the replays, the things we've done. rexsykes.tv, you can type it in. We've got all this on. Bill's coming back right now. Hopefully the connection works. Technology has to work, right?
Hey,
guys.
There you are.
We're back. And we just mentioned, just before you dropped off, as if by magic, the room's reappeared. You do have something that you actually want to give away, right?
I thought it'd be kind of cool that you might have seen the movie called The Secret. I wrote a best-selling book called The Obvious. You can get the physical copy on Amazon and support some breast cancer awareness because all the proceeds are given away. But if you'd like a free copy today, all you have to do is text the word obvious. If you text the word obvious to 26786, you'll get my book free and you'll get tickets for an exciting conference coming up in Orlando or Vegas as my guest. So free book just should be on the show today. Text obvious right now to 26786. And I love to give away cool stuff. So hopefully that read will give you some more insight and wisdom to winning in life and business. And Rex, Danny, anything you guys got going on, I'm all about supporting it. So I appreciate you guys having me on. I hope this was something that added value for your audience. And I look forward to seeing you guys at one of the next upcoming events, whether it's a work, play, or charity event I'm in.
Well, and likewise, so I got to tell you, blessed to be here with you now and to have been with you last week, actually. And to have Danny here and to enjoy having Eric and Mo and others, Sandy Archer's here and different people who are showing up in the chat room now.
Quite a party. We love it. Hi, Sandy.
The book is great. I want to make sure that people get your book because it's awesome. And you're getting a ticket to an incredible event. You're getting a ticket to incredible events with incredible people by the incredible Bill Walsh. So. How cool is that?
We'll invite everybody out for the challenge, a new 100K challenge. We'll make sure everyone gets an invite for that too as part of the same event. So we've got some really exciting things happening, and just an honor to be on your show today, Rex.
Well, and it's been an honor to have you. And Kurt Heibel is here. Kurt I met at the event.
Hi, Kurt. He's awesome.
With you. Kurt has been here and others, so it's very cool. Bill, you are an amazing person, and we have a few minutes before we just close out. I know you have other things to do too, but I want to give you kind of the last few moments. We have about 5. What do we have, Danny? 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
About 4 minutes. I would just love you to say whatever you'd like to say in closing.
Well, I would say in the last 4 minutes, gratitude powers everything. Gratitude power will change your life forever. Rex, I want to thank you and thank Danny for having me on, and for all the listeners that have plugged in. thank everyone for taking the time today. But if you'll wake up every day and just thank God for the blessings in your life, and whatever you believe in is cool. I love all my atheist friends. I just tell you that if you're wrong, it would really suck. But for those that do believe in a higher power, if you'll wake up every day with gratitude in your heart and be thankful for the things that you have, not the things you want, but the things you have, I will promise you that life will bring you more blessings than you could ever imagine. And I don't know exactly how it works. I don't really have to know how it works. I can't tell you how the sun comes up every day. I just know that it works. And so I will tell you in my life that one of the greatest blessings has come through gratitude. And if there's one thing I can leave you with today, if you'll start every day with gratitude and thankful for what you have, you'd be surprised how much more will show up in your life and the people around you. And be the one that walks in the room that makes the room brighter. Be the one that empowers others to win. Be the cheerleader for the people that other people may not cheer for. And when they win, you win. So that's my final comment for the day. And I love you guys, and thanks for having me on. Look forward to seeing so many of you guys at some of our events and some of the things we have going on. So let's go.
All right, let's go. We will be speaking very soon. I love you. We're in touch, Danny and you and I and the rest. So thank you, Bill, for being here. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Enjoy the 4th of July celebration that you have there, and trip to Vienna. Have a marvelous, wonderful time. And thank you so much.
It's going to be a good time. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Got to run.
Thanks so much. Bye, Bill.
Wow. Thank you, Bill. Wow, that was really time well spent, wouldn't you say, Danny?
Yeah, a pleasure as always, and the marvel of technology to be able to bring us together from wherever we are in the world. And we've had so many amazing folks in the comments. There's some comments we can see, some comments we can't. If we've not shared your name, I'm sure other folks will be able to connect and add you and see what's going on. But everybody, More Rock in there, Eric Swanson in there, Sandy Archer in there, so many folks doing so many amazing things, taking time out to just come and see what's going on today. We appreciate you so much. I know we need to bring this to a conclusion, Rex, but before we do, you've got something amazing coming up that people are loving this, right? And we've got so much interest. You are going to be working on something really cool over the next few weeks. And I've got my copy here. You are going to be doing a book study on Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And folks, need to read this. I've been going through this myself. But you're going to go into a deep dive of Outwitting the Devil in a very special book study, which is something you have you done this in the past? Maybe you've done this in the past. It's something that people definitely need to see, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've done book studies in the past, but not quite like this one. And if you go to rexlikes.club/book-study, you'll get all the details when it is. We begin on the 9th of July, so it's after the holiday weekend here in the United States. But we're going to go deep. Now, I have been reading Napoleon Hill's works since I was a kid, and Think and Grow Rich obviously is the one that everybody knows. But before that was Laws of Success, and then afterwards and posthumously, Outwitting the Devil was written or was published. The thing that I really like is to synthesize the works of Hill because they're really important. And what happens is most people read and they have a surface understanding of Think and Grow Rich, for example, and or they listen to the opinions of others and they think they understand it. But I can promise you, for example, Think and Grow Rich is not just about making money. It's just so out there, so far beyond any of the things that most people talk about or have. I say it's an incredible spiritual book, and so is Outwitting the Devil and other things. And what happens is people don't dive as deep as they can. Now, we've got 5 days we're going to do this in. It's about an hour a day. It's absolutely free. There's no charge. You just come join me. Obviously, we're not going to read the whole book during that time, but we're going to look at structure. We're going to look at making some comparisons and contrasting, because the structure of what Hill does is even more important than in many ways than the content of what he has said, because he said it in so many different arenas. But it's what he's doing and how he's doing it that really makes the works that much more valuable and come alive for those people who understand the process that he's asking people to join him in as he had written the book. It's not a book to read. It is a book like a workshop to study and work. And so is Outwitting the Devil, although it doesn't have the same, structure to it, say, as Think and Grow Rich or Laws of Success. So it will be a deep dive, and I'm so thrilled to be offering this and to have you. So, and there's a lot of people joining us right now. They've been signing up for the I don't know how many days we when we launched this. I think the last time. And so go there now, sign up, be sure that you're there. And we're going to do it in the evenings, probably like 6 p.m. Pacific time, somewhere around there, for 5 consecutive days, the 9th through the 14th. And you're going to want to be there. You're going to want to be there, I promise you.
Yeah, and I think we've had about over 100 people have signed up for this now, Rex. So he's going to be busy in the live room, and it's not going to be all over the internet like we stream all over the place. We are going to try and keep this into a Zoom room. So the Zoom rooms will
I don't know if we have a cutoff on how many people we can have. So I mean so I would encourage people to get in quickly.
Yeah, so the first folks in, everyone will get an email, but the first folks into the room on each day will get the priority, right? In terms of like the room will be full at some point. I think then you've got to split it out and use all these other softwares and different things. So once the room capacity is reached, I think Google Meeting, you can have 150, Zoom, you can have so many. So there's no fake scarcity. If the room gets full, you might not be able to get in and you'd have to keep refreshing the link. So get in there now, www.rexsykes.club/book-study, and you can sign up and Rex will be there 5 days. I'll be behind the scenes helping with some of the tech. But for the deep dive, even if you're not familiar with the works, just to understand, this book was quite. I know we're going to save it for the challenge, but this is something that with the you can see in the title was a potential concern for some folks or a worry for some folks, and Rex is going to go into this in a way that you might not have seen before. So, Outwit the Devil is very, very powerful, and I think Rex is going to give this in a new way that's going to be very valuable to whoever managed to get in that room. But it is filling up fast. We're super excited. We've shared everything is on that page. Outwitting Rex, says Mal Rock. Is that even possible?
So what I want to do before we close, do you have the image for our guest next time?
I do indeed have the image for the guest.
I want to thank everybody who's been here, everybody who's commenting, everybody who's been sharing this to other places on social media. Again, it for some reason Facebook doesn't do well with me, so it didn't do my feed. So some people comment in YouTube, and some people comment on Facebook, and some people on LinkedIn, and we try and consolidate that. And sometimes we can't get them all because of the different places. So we apologize if you weren't noticed or honored, or if your question or comment didn't come through. But keep sharing it, keep commenting, and we'll figure all that out. So our guest next time is Satish Verma. Now, Satish Verma is the CEO, the president of the Think and Grow Rich Institute, which he is from Toronto, so that's where it is. But it's a global organization that is promoting the works of Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And Satish and I are dear friends. I love him so much. And we got to be together at Bill Walsh's event in Chicago. I didn't, I knew he would be there. He didn't know at first that I would be there. And I walk in and I'm going to the door and I hear Rex, and I turn around and it's Satish, and he gives me the biggest hug. And I'm so thrilled to have him here next time. It is I forget what the day was today. It's the 10th, I believe. And the 10th. So you're going to want to be there. Mark your calendars today. And just understand that. And we got so many cool people coming up, and keep watching the show, keep sharing the show, subscribe to the channel, Create Your Best Life with Rex on YouTube, so that you're always notified about what's happening. And we've got a Facebook group, Create Your Best Life with Rex, and we'll see you in the book study. We'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone.
It's been an awesome show, and thank you, Rex, for the contribution that you make to the world, to every community, every room that you're in. It's truly humbling to be part of this with you and sit by your side and talk to the folks that you're bringing on, and all of the knowledge and wisdom that you share. So everybody's eternally grateful for every effort, every comment, every question, every live, every single thing you do. And you work harder than most folks. Like Bill said, you probably outwork them all. I hope you have a fantastic next few days yourself and take some time off.
Well, I'm very humbled by that, but I couldn't do this without you, Danny. And you know that you are a genius beyond in so many different ways, and you've got my back, and you're a staple and someone I lean on and somebody I trust. So I couldn't be better in better company, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, and thank Bill Walsh for being here today, and for all of you who commented. Thank you. Love you.
Yep.
See you next
It's been amazing. We'll see everybody next time. Thanks so much, folks. We're gone. Bye-bye.